Catholic News Roundup is brought to you in part by PewSitter.com, your online Catholic newspaper for the third millennium. CatholicMediaCoalition.org, in line with the Church, online with the world. CatholicUnderground.com, the podcast about our Catholic faith and new media.
And TheAmericanCatholic.com, politics and culture from a Catholic perspective.
Hello and welcome to today's edition of Catholic News Roundup. I'm Michael Voris. Another bishop speaking out. St. Louis Archbishop Robert Carlson, who succeeded Archbishop Raymond Burke in St. Louis, is saying plainly, a Catholic cannot be pro-choice and remain a Catholic in good standing. The staunchly pro-life Carlson has been outspoken about the Church's need to defend all life, most especially the most defenseless, the unborn. Carlson's comments follow very closely on the heels of Bishop Thomas Olmsted of Phoenix, who just last week issued a similar statement in saying that to allow Catholics to continue to oppose church teaching openly causes grave scandal and does nothing but to spread evil. Cheers for Bishops Carlson and Olmsted. Yet another Protestant group errs. Now it's the Presbyterians' turn to cave into the culture. The Leadership Council of the Presbyterian Ecclesial Community in the United States has given the green light to ordaining openly practicing homosexual men and women. The Presbyterians follow on the heels of the Episcopalians, who voted in favor of such a change just last year. One by one, the major Protestant denominations have caved in to non-Christian values, beginning with contraception, then divorce, then abortion, and now homosexuality. Judge overturns the ban on same-sex marriage. A federal district court judge in Boston has struck down the 1996 federal law that defines marriage as a union exclusively between a man and a woman. Judge Joseph Toro ruled that the federal defense of marriage law violates the constitutional right of married same-sex couples to equal protection under the law and upends the federal government's long history of allowing states to set their own marriage laws. That's his ruling. In this first ruling of its kind, and if it's upheld, this will place the United States alongside the 10 or so other countries worldwide that recognize so-called homosexual marriage. It would force the government to recognize these marriages from Connecticut, New Hampshire, Vermont, Iowa, and Massachusetts, and by extension, grant federal benefits such as tax breaks and federal employee spousal insurance to same-sex couples. Stay with us, back in just a few seconds.
Catholic News Roundup is brought to you in part by NewOxfordReview.org, the voice of Catholic Orthodoxy, in print and on the web. And RenewAmerica.com, expanding the influence of America's grassroots in the cause of freedom.
And DFWCatholic.org, spreading the truth one city at a time.
Vatican cracks down. The Vatican is preparing to update the 2001 norms that deal with priestly sex abuse of minors, in effect codifying practices that have been in place for several years. At the same time, it will include the, quote, attempted ordination of women, end quote, among the list of most serious crimes against church law, or delicta graviora. That's according to sources in the Vatican. Pope John Paul II's 2001 document distinguished between two types of most grave crimes, those committed in celebration against the sacraments and those committed against morals. Among the sacramental crimes were such things as desecration of the Eucharist and violation of the seal of confession. Under the new revisions, the attempted ordination of women will be listed among those crimes as a serious violation of the sacrament of holy orders. Again, it's coming from sources inside the Vatican. And lastly, rebellious nuns blur the truth. The Leadership Conference of Women Religious, also known as the LCWR's support for the U.S. health care bill passed in March, was a topic of lengthy discussions between them and Vatican leaders who also discussed the doctrinal investigation of the group. In meetings with Vatican officials last year, LCWR officials answered several questions about the group's support for the legislation, despite the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops' opposition to the bill on the grounds it lacked strict restrictions on federal funding for abortions. The LCWR continues to trumpet the false position that their primary concern is ensuring health care for everyone and that abortion is not funded in Obamacare. It is most especially funded in Obamacare, despite what the liberal nuns claim. I'm Michael Voris. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure and tune in tomorrow for your daily dose of Catholic News Roundup right here on RealCatholicTV.com. And be sure and check out the Vortex today, where we talk about how sexual immorality leads to becoming a dissident. That's it for now. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure and tell your friends about us. And as always, God bless you.